Hey guys, welcome back to my main channel. I feel like I look like a little snow bunny or something today, whatever a snow bunny is, and it's really not even cold enough to wear stuff like this, but I am pretending. Today we're going to be talking about double standards and female privilege. Yes, I said female privilege because it is a real thing. I know that people are very accustomed to just hearing about the singular concept of male privilege, and so to some people, the minute they hear female privilege, just the phrase, their ears are automatically shut off. But I do ask if you're the kind of person who, values listening to other opinions, just hear me out because I have a lot to say. The world is not black and white, honey. There is room for nuance here, and we're gonna get into it. So I'm kind of gonna be going off in this video because there is a story that I came across recently that actually got me thinking about things. Zoe Laverne. Zoe Laverne, I regret to inform you, the TikTokers are at it once again. She is a TikToker, and she has recently found herself into some boiling, steaming hot water over video where she is making out with a 13-year-old boy. The problem is that she's not just, a teeny bopper like most other TikToks. She is, in fact, an adult. So that's an issue, clearly. So she made out with a 13-year-old boy, which is disgusting in my opinion. I'm not going to sit here and pretend as though it's, the equivalent of rape, okay? It's not. However, I urge of you to imagine a world in which a 19-year-old male TikToker got caught making out with a 13-year-old little girl. I'm gonna venture out on a limb and say that there would be some pitchforks outside his house, the police would have been on deck, and no one would be okay with it. Duh. So again, it's not rape. I don't think this little boy is going to be, scarred for life. At least I definitely hope not. I don't think he's going to have trouble, just living his life because when he was 13, this happened to him. However, it is obviously so wrong and obviously creepy as This is just a jump off topic because I feel like this transcends into a much larger scope of an issue, which is the double standards when it comes to male victims and female perpetrators of these crimes. It is a very real thing, and I want to show you guys some examples of this and really just rant about this. But first, I do have to give a huge thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video, which is a brand that I love so much. Surfshark is a VPN. If you don't know what a VPN is, it's basically an app/browser extension that allows you to place your IP anywhere in the world, which ensures your safety and anonymity online. It is amazing because it actually allows you to access certain social media websites or just websites in general that you otherwise may not be able to get on based on where you live and the rules of where you live. It adds that extra layer of security that we are all looking for, at least I am, that protects my passwords, my media, my pictures, my videos, everything. It also allows you to stay safe on public Wi-Fi, which is obviously an amazing commodity, but unfortunately it's also a goldmine for hackers. And by the way, Surfshark is proud to be the only VPN that allows you to access it from as many different devices as you want. It's the only one that does that. You can use my code Blaire for 84% off as well as an extra 4 months free. They also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. The link is in the description right down below, so check them out and have fun. So back to the video. So my second video ever, some of you may not know who are maybe newer to my channel, but my second video ever was actually about an experience I had in a psychology class in which the topic of the day was domestic violence. And one survivor of a really severe domestic violence case actually stood up, told his story, and what ensued next was really, really dark. And honestly, what was the first thing to kind of open my eyes to this problem in society. So this guy is talking in front of the class about how his ex-girlfriend used to beat the hell out of him. He was a domestic abuser, and he went through that. And as he was telling the story, the class erupted in laughter. Like, it was almost like, is this a prank? Is this punk or something? Like, why are people laughing? But it was because the entire class of women thought it was funny. Like, they couldn't even conceive of the idea that this guy was genuinely a victim of domestic violence because he was a man and his partner was a woman, that they would have just assumed that it was him joking or being funny. Meanwhile, I don't really remember how the guy reacted, but it can't have felt good on his part. And I was just disgusted because I said, in what world do you guys think that women cannot beat up on men? In fact, sometimes that's even more severe when they do that because the man has the societal stigma that he can never hit back. At least women can hit back if they need to. So this really started opening my eyes to this problem, and I started seeing more examples of it, and other times with the issue of rape. So I noticed that anytime the media reported on a female teacher who had sex with a student, they always called it having sex, when we all know that minors could not consent. It's rape, it's molestation. It is not consensual activity. But this is each and every time how the media plays it. Teacher has sex with student. However, when the teacher is male, they never describe it that way. It is always described in the headline as rape. I'm gonna put some examples up here, but there are so many more. Each and every time that is how the media reports it. Pay attention next time you see it. You'll see. And I think this really speaks to the fact that boys and men, when they are victimized, are just not taken seriously. It's not seen as severe of a crime or as harsh of a thing. To bring it back to the Zoe Laverne thing, you know, again, like I said, I'm not saying that this was rape, okay? I know I'm talking about multiple things in one video, but I'm sure we can have multiple thoughts in our head here. It's not comparable to rape what happened. However, I also think that Zoe's reputation from this will likely recover over time. You know what I mean? As this boy gets older, as she gets older, like, people will move past it. But I don't think people would move past it if it was a guy. Because while there are a lot of people that are really attacking Zoe for this, there are a lot of people that I think it's really not that big of a deal, even though it is. And you also see this very lackadaisical response to male victims and female perpetrators of these crimes in the court system, because women who are convicted of these crimes are statistically given less harsh punishments and jail sentencings than their male counterparts. And I just don't think that's right. You know, I feel like a crime is a crime is a crime, a victim is a victim, and in a world that makes any sense, at least, the punishment should be equal for both genders. I mean, is that really too much to ask for? We have all this equality, but not, you know, equal punishment for crimes? Like, what? You know, I'm gonna say something kind of weird that I just actually thought about, you know. So I was raised before I transitioned. This is something that happened to me when I was, you know, by any societal definition, a boy, right? I don't think that what happened to me, just an example here, was any less traumatic or less damaging to my life because it happened to me when I was a boy. I just don't think so. Like, if it would have happened to me now, I think it would be just as damaging or traumatizing as when it happened to me back then. So I know it's a little bit of an abstract thought here, but it's like, clearly it's like the gender of the victim does not matter at all. And I guess I'm just saying that because I can kind of really clearly understand that as someone who has lived life and had experiences being seen and going through life as both genders. But, you know, that's kind of a weird thought. I'm sorry. You know, it's not just women who don't take male victims seriously. It's actually maybe even more so men that don't take them seriously. Anytime on Twitter you see a story about a female teacher having sex with, again, we know it's not consensual, so it's not sex, with an underage boy, whether it be middle school or high school or whatever, look at the replies next time you see it. The replies are always, without fail, going to be littered with men saying, oh, lucky him, you know, oh, so what's the problem? Not a big deal. Wish that would have happened to me. Go champ. Like, that is some shit that really grinds my gears, because I don't think that any of those guys would be saying that if it was their 6th grade, 7th grade son. I just really don't think they would. And I know they wouldn't have that same reaction if the victim was a female. Like I said, we have to just imagine these roles switching. You know, you have to keep that same energy. If you are disgusted and like want to go take, you know, justice into your own hands whenever you hear about this happening about a girl, you have to feel the same way about it being a boy. Otherwise, I don't think you're really thinking this through entirely. All of this really leads to a culture of shame and of silence when it comes to male victims, whether it's young boys or grown-ass men. Statistically, boys and men are much less likely to even report these things happening to them out of shame, out of embarrassment, out of just the inherent knowledge that in our culture, they're really not going to be taken as seriously. And of course, this also plays into the stereotype and like the archetype of the sexual assault victim, in which the first person you think of always is a female, and you don't necessarily think of a male when you think of the phrase sexual assault victim, because we don't even know how many men really are sexually assaulted. How can we even have an accurate number or statistic when there's so much shame around them even reporting it? Like, they just simply don't report it. And you know, if I ever have a son someday, I would hope to God that, you know, there is something that shifts in society that actually allows them to be taken more seriously when something happens to them. I would hope to God that if anything ever happened to, or any of the boys or men that I have in my life right now, I would hope to God they have the, you know, confidence to come forward and say what happened to them and to seek justice. But, you know, unfortunately, I really don't think society has even gotten there. I don't think you know, where we may have made so much progress in other areas and with other topics and groups and problems, this is one that is just so stagnant, and I've always seen this attitude, and it doesn't seem like it's changing anytime soon. Although hopefully, maybe it's changed a few of you guys' minds watching this video. But with that being said, that is really all I have to say on this topic. I love you guys. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel as well as my side channel. I'll put a little screenshot of my side channel here. It's called Blaire Black. I'm Blaire White. That's Blaire Black. Yada yada. Follow me on Twitter and follow me on Instagram because I post on there way more than I do on here. So you gotta follow those to keep up with me. Love you guys. See you in the next video. Bye guys.